In this lecture, we'll be taking a look at the drop zone feature in drag and drop API. So till now, we have this div wherein we have one image and the draggable attribute is set to true. Now here we'll also include one more thing, and that is a data value attribute. So here I'll say data dash value equal to, and inside this let's write HTML5. That is the data value that I'm having for this particular image. Now, other thing that we had was a drop zone. Now here we will be defining an attribute called drop zone, and we will be mentioning what kind of activity will be happening over here in this drop zone, and then we'll also specify the MIME type that it is going to support. So once this is done, we'll be going to our script, and here we'll be defining drag and drop type, and this is going to be the same MIME type that we have defined for our drop zone. In the previous lecture we had this handle drag start method created, and this time we'll be further enhancing it. So the event that was being passed to it, we'll be making use of it, and here we'll say event dot data transfer dot effect allowed equal to move. And if you see in our drop zone, that is what we have mentioned. So this is the effect that is allowed. The others that are allowed are link and copy. Now, next thing that we need to do is event.data transfer and use the set data method, and here we'll specify the DND type. Remember, it was set to the same MIME type, text plain, which our drop zone is supporting. Once that is done, we'll be further adding the dataset value. So here in our file we had this data value set to HTML5. That is what we are actually passing over here. So we'll say event.target.dataset.value. Now that's done. Let's put a semicolon to it, and that is what we need to do in our handle start event. Now whenever the window.onLoad event was called or triggered, we were actually calling the init method, and inside the init method we were checking whether the drag and drop is supported or not, and if it is supported, then we were taking the initial HTML image that we had and we were calling the handle start method. Now here we'll also include drop zone related events, that is handle drag over and handle drop. So let me copy this one, paste it a couple of times, and now if you see the drop zone ID, that is what we'll have over here and here as well. The events will change. This will be drag over and this will be drop. Obviously we'll also change the handlers for that, so we'll say handle drag over and we'll say handle drop. Now we only had created this one, handle drag start, so we'll be creating these two as well. So we'll say function handle drag over and we'll pass the event to it. Inside this we'll see if event dot prevent default. In that case we'll say event dot prevent default and we'll say return false. Okay, so that is handle drag over for us. Then we'll create another function handle drop, and here we'll include the event as well, and this time we'll see the same thing. So I'll just copy this one and put it over here. Next we'll take the data, So we'll say event.dataTransfer dot get data. So here when drag start took place, we set the data, and when the drop is happening, we are getting the data. So we'll say get data, and we'll specify the DND type. That was text/plain. Next, we'll update the message. So I'll be copying this line and putting it over here, and the message will read received drop data, and the data that was received will be shown over here. I'll call it as data. Okay, so this data is then shown over here, and basically what we are doing is this data value that you see is actually transferred from this zone to this drop zone, and the message is then shown in the status message. So let's save this and run it now. So this is the page, and if I start dragging, you can see that it says drag started, and here I'm dropping it on this drop zone, and you can see that it says received dropped data, and then you are seeing HTML5. So that is the data that we have moved from this to this place. Now in the upcoming lectures, we'll also see how we can minimize the set of events that we have handled over here, and finally we'll see how a perfect drag and drop example